Good morning, everybody, and thanks for being with us here on KXAN Live. I'm Will Dupree in the KXAN Live studio. I hope you all are enjoying your Wednesday. We wanted to check really quickly in on this live stream that's coming in from Philadelphia. A number of the city officials there and some other groups are going to discuss the arrival of migrants bused from Texas to Philadelphia yesterday as part of Governor Abbott's plan that's really associated with Operation Lone Star. That again is the border security initiative that he started, and we'll have some more details about how many asylum seekers have now been bused through this program to various cities across the entire country. But let's listen in again as we hear from the mayor of Philadelphia, a number of other city officials and nonprofits there who are providing assistance to those people who crossed the border here in Texas, were processed, and are now awaiting their asylum hearings, but they'll be doing so now in Philadelphia. Let's listen in.
Asylum seekers was expected to travel here from Del Rio, Texas. This information was confirmed late yesterday without coordination or warning by Texas Governor Greg Abbott's office through a press release. It's not just unproductive and disappointing, but downright irresponsible and callous to do this unannounced and without coordination, showing blatant disregard for the sanctity of human lives. As a proud, welcoming city, we choose to take the right path and uphold our American values. The city and volunteers greeted our newly arrived neighbors this morning with dignity and respect. And I'm incredibly proud of the agencies that have stepped up to ensure that these individuals and families have the resources they need after another long journey. While working through some of the logistics, today's arrival of the bus went by and very smoothly. That's a testament to the planning and preparations of the Office of Emergency Management, the Office of Immigrant Affairs, city mass care partners, immigrant leaders, and immigrant-serving nonprofits have done to work together to respond during this transition period. These agencies and our partners on the ground stand ready to welcome, assist, and provide support to these new arrivals. I've said many times before, our city's diversity is one of our greatest assets, and immigrants are major contributors. Philadelphians recognize this as a strength. That is why countless residents and community partners have come forward generously and compassionately to offer a helping hand as soon as we were alerted to a possible bus arriving in Philadelphia. I've seen it time and time again, and I saw it this morning at the welcoming facility. It is possible for government and local communities to work together to strengthen systems of support for newcomers, and that has always been this administration's vision and commitment. It is sad and outrageous that Governor Abbott and his administration continue to implement their cruel and racist policies, using immigrant families, including children, as pawns to shamelessly push their warped political agenda. We aren't going to play into sensationalism. We will remain focused as ever on welcoming and supporting anyone who wants to visit or live in our great city, and we thank the partners in the media who have shown restraint and respect for the privacy of the travelers, especially the kids. Those who arrived today are private individuals simply seeking safety and a place where they can build a future. Let's remember that and welcome them with grace and respect. I want to remind everyone that all of these folks who arrived in Philadelphia today have legal means to be in the United States. Most are expected to continue traveling to meet family members elsewhere in the country. And many, if not all, are seeking asylum and have demonstrated that they face real dangers of being or have been harmed in their homeland because of their race, religion, or their politics. This is a human right protected under our laws. Our American values prove that it is our duty to welcome and support these folks as they face some of the most trying times of their lives. At its core, this is a humanitarian crisis that started with instability and violence in South and Central America and is being accelerated by political dynamics in our own country. But no matter where someone is from or how they got here, our communities work best when people feel welcomed and are provided the support they need and deserve to fully participate in our communities. Now, Philadelphians are coming together to provide support. We've launched the Philadelphia Welcoming Fund to allow Philadelphia residents the opportunity to contribute to local efforts to welcome people. To donate, visit mayorsfundphila.org. I want to thank our region's thriving sector of immigrant-serving organizations that have stepped up, including Casa de Venezuela, Gente de Venezuela, Juntos, New Sanctuary Movement, Aquinas Community Center, PA Immigrant Family Unity Project, Pennsylvania Immigration and Citizenship Coalition, Alianza Latina, the Weiss Wellness Center, and Maria de los Santos. While many people may want to help, please keep in mind that donated supplies cannot be accepted. The best way to support organizations that are providing aid to people is through monetary donations to vetted groups named above that are providing immediate and long-term relief. So again, I want to thank the Office of Emergency Management, the Office of Immigrant Affairs, and all our community partners and agencies and their staff who have been working tirelessly to support this operation. Now for more information on our immediate response plan, I'll turn it over to Dominic.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dominic Morellis, the Director for the City's Office of Emergency Management. I want to start by saying how well this morning went and how honored the Office of Emergency Management has been to play a small part in this mission. At 6 a.m. this morning in 45-degree misting weather, to see both city and outside agencies work together to ensure a safe arrival and passage of immigrants, seeing people step off the bus and be greeted with a warm welcome, literally, with smiles, hot coffee, blankets, and coats, was uplifting. We're grateful to have the support of our mayor and managing director. OEM has both a planning and response role in city public safety, as well as in complex and uncertain events. Through years of events and responses, we maintain a robust network of partners and scalable plans which we use in everyday emergencies, but can also be used in more traditional and unique responses. Welcoming people to Philadelphia who need assistance due to various circumstances is a function and tradition that our office is proud of. This office has played roles in welcoming and assisting evacuees from Louisiana during Hurricane Katrina, from Puerto Rico during Hurricane Maria, and from Afghanistan during Operation Allies Welcome just about 14 months ago. Today, 28 people arrived in Philadelphia on a private charter bus. Those individuals were welcomed to Philadelphia, informed of what was available to them as services, offered warm items, and arranged to transport people to our intake facility. A child was transported with their parent by EMS to Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and 19 people did come with us to the intake facility. 7 people departed on their own immediately from 30th Street Station. Today was a success, and I would like to specifically thank our emergency response partners, to include the city's Public Health Department, Behavioral Health Department, Office of Homeless Services, Department of Human Services, Philadelphia Fire and Police Department, SEPTA, the American Red Cross, and so many others who are playing a part. We also appreciate the desire from those who want to help. At this time, as the mayor stated, there's not a need for volunteers nor any donated items. I know our next speaker will highlight where you can direct those items of support, and with that, I'd like to introduce the city's Executive Director of the Office of Immigrant Affairs.
Good afternoon, everyone. Amy Eusebio, Executive Director of the Office of Immigrant Affairs. And I just want to really echo the sentiments of this morning went incredibly well. Before I continue, I just want to comment there will be Spanish interpretation during the Q&A portion of this press event. So I really feel like this morning was a testament to strong public-private partnerships for welcoming and setting an example for what it could look like. A lot of our success was due to some of our community-based organizations working in tandem with city agencies in order to coordinate and plan a response. We've been working on this for about 3 months, and it got activated very quickly once we had confirmation that the bus was coming. As was already shared, at the Welcome Center, we have currently, some people have been already picked up by family members. They were reuniting with family members. And we have about 14 adults and 2 children who are staying with us, who are still making arrangements. Some of our next steps include helping people get to their final destinations. There's a wide ranging of where people are trying to get to. A couple of people are staying in Philadelphia. Others are moving on to other states like Pennsylvania, Maryland, New York, Connecticut. So it's wide ranging, Ohio. And so our community-based partners will be helping us to coordinate that transportation. Just wanted to share a little bit about who's coming. They represent diverse countries, Colombia, Cuba, Nicaragua, Panama, Ecuador, República Dominicana, Dominican Republic. we are also supporting people with legal orientation. As what's already been shared, these are people that have been fully vetted by Customs and Border Patrol. They were inspected already and fingerprinted and were legally paroled into the United States to pursue their claims for asylum. So I know there are many questions about legality, and people have been fully vetted and they are here and they are present and the government is aware of that. And so our legal services partners are orienting them to their rights, helping them understand the asylum application process and beginning warm handoffs to some of the other jurisdictions that will be receiving them. Lastly, I just want to comment, as I said in the top, that the community-based organization partners have been key. They have been really the key volunteers with us on the ground, facilitating intake, greeting people, providing donations, the cutest things like car seats and stuffed animals. It's really been a pleasure to work together. Just naming a couple of them as well: Juntos, New Sanctuary Movement, Casa de Venezuela, Gente de Venezuela, Aquinas Center, Highest Pennsylvania, Nationality Services Center. And then the last one I want to introduce is one of our partners that we've asked to come join us today to share a few remarks on behalf of the coalition is Andy Kang, Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Immigration and Citizenship Coalition. Thank you. And we would like to invite New Sanctuary Movement to come join up front too. I did not
Good morning, everyone. My name is Andy Kang. I'm the Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Immigration and Citizenship Coalition. And on behalf of the community partners who came together today and have been working with the Mayor's Office over the last several weeks, as Amy described, we'd just like to thank you for being here. And I wanted to take a moment just to thank Mayor Kenny for his team, for the Office of Emergency Management, for Amy and the Office of Immigrant Affairs. You know, given in light of the news last night, the political news last night, I thought it was particularly fitting that Philadelphia came together on every level, whether it was every city employee that was involved with this project, all the partners that came together, the level of care that was given, matter of thoughtfulness and intention and love that was showed to these folks that came off the bus who have been through a terrible amount of stuff along the way was very encouraging. And so, you know, all I will say is on behalf of our partners, we don't know what the future holds here. We are in contact with our colleagues in New York and Chicago and other cities that have had a similar experience. But our hope is that given today being the way we set the tone and the example, we're confident that we'll be up for the challenge. So we once again want to thank the city officials. We look forward to a deeper conversation about a potential long-term plan with the state and the White House, but that's going to involve many, many more leaders across the movement in this country. So, Peter, I don't know if you got anything.
Sure. Thanks, Andy. Hi, everyone. I'm Peter Padamonte. I'm a co-director at New Sanctuary Movement of Philadelphia. I'm really proud to stand here today with the city. Especially want to thank Amy from the Office of Immigrant Affairs and Mayor Kenny for not only welcoming everyone who came today, but also giving the governor a little bit of Philly attitude. I think for us, you know, we work closely with the city, and we do what Philly does best, which is welcome people. Regardless of what's thrown at us, we're here to welcome people with support, in solidarity, and with love, and we're going to keep doing it. Thanks.
Questions? Yes. 28? 28. Doctor?
So I can't share a lot of details about the child's medical history, but we did have one child who came off the bus sick enough that we transferred that child directly to the CHOP ER, where she's been cared for right now. I'm sorry? Still there, yeah. So, I mean, the transfer went fine, you know, under CHOP's care. So we're really glad to have terrific medical facilities in the city, and I'm deeply frustrated at the way this was done. She is accompanied by a parent, yes. Yes. So I can summarize the numbers if you want, but that's probably Amy.
Yeah, so the total off of the bus is 28, it was 23 adults and 5 children.
How many are staying in Philly?
Only, from our registration process, only 2 people are staying in Philly.
And so beyond today, what happens? Are they staying in the shelter tonight? Can you kind of talk about what happens beyond today?
Sure, yeah, we're providing temporary housing to folks at the Welcome Center facility that we've set up. We're anticipating, even by later today into tomorrow morning, that many people will have moved along to their final destinations.
The two that are staying in Philly, is that like a long-term thing, or will they go somewhere else?
No, yeah, they're long-term. They were actually picked up by their family members, so they're not staying at the shelter because they got here and they were like, pick me up, and their family members came and got them. Yep. The original bus, we do not know. We were informed that people had the option to get off, and actually the bus, the limited information that we had was that the bus departed with 31. Some people got off along the way to be able to stop at different points. We do suspect that those who are staying will, I believe it was a baby, so it's going to be a minute before they're enrolled in schools.
In our country's history, we've received millions of people. We dealt with 30,000 Afghan, how many? 30,000 Afghan refugees, 300 or so Ukrainian refugees, 1 million Irish people, hundreds of thousands of Italian people. I mean, I mean, are we concerned? I'm concerned about everything, but we'll get it done. It's just what we should be about. This is, in my opinion, what this country is. And we have people who have been trying to deny that for now quite a number of years. And we saw on Tuesday some of that was rejected, and hopefully that's the direction we're going in. It always amazes me that politicians, including the governor of Texas, talks ad nauseum about Christian values, but displays very little, if any. Do we have a chance to talk to any of the?
Yeah, we don't have those.
I mean, 31 people. What's the bus seat? About 50-some, 52. So it wasn't packed. So I mean, they had maybe a little room to move around, but it's a bus trip. Probably since it started, yes. Since now we've gotten the first one, so we don't. But even if they were nice enough to let us know, so we could get ready, but they don't even do that. So I guess they're having fun and they're enjoying, playing with people's lives.
Yeah, our understanding is folks were offered, what's that called, the MREs, those military meals. And with the populations being significantly from Latin American countries, like they might have looked at it and said, I don't want that. Or they might have tried it and maybe it gave them like gastro troubles, right? So I think that is part of why people arrive hungry and thirsty.
I mean, I would assume, based on past practice, that we'll get at least one other. I mean, they were coming 10 a day to New York, and I think they're down to about 2 a day. Chicago, I think, got 10, and, I mean, look, it's, I don't know. I mean, and again, I mean, it's bad enough they're sending them, but just pick up the phone, I mean, and just say, this bus is leaving, this is how many people are on it, and this is where we're going to drop them off at, or where do you want us to drop them off at? Because we could have taken them right to the welcoming center as opposed to 30th Street. I would tell them to examine their own travel to this country through their ancestry and try to put themselves in the place of those people and try to remember your own history and experience in this country. With the exception of African Americans who were brought here in bondage and chains, everybody else came here for need. And just kind of think back to your own great-great-grandparents and try to have a little sympathy and empathy.
Good afternoon. Tim Alexander, Managing Director. I think as it relates to the level of security, we wanted to have it in a facility to where, you know, we could create what Amy talked about and what the volunteers talked about a welcoming experience. And we certainly wanted to respect their privacy and their dignity by not having thousands of cameras shoved in their face. So our level of security, we think, is appropriate for the activities that are taking place in the building.
We don't have a lot of information because the state of Texas didn't share a lot of information. So, you know, a warm handoff might have made this process easier. Medical evaluations before putting people on a bus might have prevented what happened and having to transfer a child to the ER. I mean, we're trying to keep people healthy. So it's hard for me to know what did or didn't happen. But the coordination handoff to make this as safe as possible for people clearly didn't.
Sorry if Dr. Feigl already answered this question, but do we know when the child will be released from hospital?
Sorry, do we know when the child will be released? We do not.
Okay.
Sorry, I can't give you the real answer on this at the time. We're trying to determine that now. I mean, we thought the bus would be fuller, so certainly, you know, we had a bus full with 28 folks, and we were expecting upwards of 50 or a full capacity bus. We think we'll know more as we go further along in this process. Like Amy talked about, though, a lot of these folks are really passing through. So, you know, the cost it takes for us to, you know, rent the facility, you know, design to help put the things around the facility, such as furniture, food, and all of those things that we're incurring, but also some of the deferred costs that we're doing with the organizations and trying to provide for needs of folks. So we'll know more later, but right now we're just sort of, that's up in the air, and we're trying to determine it as we go. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for sticking with us on KXAN Live. Will Dupree back in the KXAN Live studio, as we just heard there from the mayor of Philadelphia and a number of other city officials, plus a couple of nonprofits there in the area, talking about the arrival of 28 asylum seekers who were processed at the border here in Texas and sent by bus, chartered by the state to Philadelphia. We learned yesterday that Governor Abbott had added this Pennsylvania city to the list of those that are receiving these charter buses. That also includes New York City, Chicago, and Washington, D.C. at this time. So this would be the fourth location that will receive some of those migrants processed again here legally into the country and then sent on to those other cities. Yesterday, Governor Abbott again announced that Philadelphia would join that list of those that will be serving as destinations for these charter buses. And he also shared an update on the numbers on Twitter. If you pay attention again at the bottom, this is a timestamp from yesterday, and on Monday. I just want to correct that. He said that as of today, Texas has bused more than 13,000 migrants to different cities. The largest portion of those going to Washington, D.C., as you see the breakdown there. Again, the top three of D.C., New York City, and Chicago. And now we know that 23 adults and 5 children arrived early this morning in Philadelphia. Much polling has been done by some different organizations here in Texas about Texans' support for this particular program. And I just wanted to give you all a quick snapshot of how people responded when asked about this program just last month. The Texas Politics Project, which is headquartered at UT Austin, posed this question to people. It's asking if they supported or opposed Texas paying to bus foreign migrants awaiting their asylum hearings to other parts of the country. And there you see the breakdown with the majority showing support for it. And just wanted to highlight really quickly that, again, that is some feelings from people here in Texas asked about their support of Governor Abbott's program to bus migrants from the border once they're processed to other communities. We have more information about this ongoing effort available on our website. That's kxan.com. You can also access it on the KXAN News mobile app if you download that onto your smartphone. Please do that if you haven't done so already. But for now, we're going to end our live stream, and we'll see you back here at another time. Thanks again for being with us. I'm Will Dupree here in the KXAN Live studio. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Take care.